Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you both. Hi, Gavin. Hello, Jeanette. It's nice.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. It's nice to have you with me today. This is going to be a talk, and we are going to, after this talk, there will be a drawing session. And so this is sort of a part one. Imagine us in the gallery, and we are going to be looking at a couple of artworks. And I generally like to do a theme-oriented tour. I think it really helps to just, get us going, have some words to use to start our conversation. I'd like to also, mention what a week it's been. These are very difficult times. We are recording this, during COVID, when many of us are, in isolation and trying to keep people healthy. This has been a big weekend. We've had so much going on. National Indigenous Day. We've had, the solstice. We've had Father's Day. And we also, want to acknowledge that the artworks that we're going to look at are on in the gallery, the Art Gallery of Ontario. The AGO owns these works, but the gallery does operate on the land of First Nations people. All right, so right now I'm going to share with you two words: organized chaos. Okay, so before I show you the two artworks, begin to think about what organized chaos might mean to you. And I'm going to give you a little example, one example, in your own life. Is there a drawer in your home that is kind of disorganized in the sense of what's in that drawer, but you know exactly what's in that drawer? And I consider that one example of organized chaos. And so think about that. I am going to share the screen right now, and voila, these are the two artworks we are going to talk about today. Now, remembering those two words, organized chaos. Thoughts right away. Have you got a little bit of organized chaos in your life? Gavin?
I think I'm sitting in it. This room that I'm in is our office, and my partner and I share the space. And I think having two people share the space introduces more chaos and organization sometimes. But it works. We've figured out how to put things together.
Right. So would you change anything, or do you like it just the way it is?
It's workable. There could always be, a better chair, better lighting, that kind of thing.
So interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there always could be a little tweak, a little something, like you said, a little, maybe a, different color even. I'll leave that thought. Now, Jeanette, for you, organized chaos.
Well, you're speaking to someone that likes to be highly organized in my space. I actually feel more relaxed when I know when I think I know where everything is, and when I feel organized, and when things are chaotic, I feel more chaotic in general. However, having said that, sometimes you have to just let things go and realize that you sometimes just have to live in a sort of temporary state of chaos, and know that you can go back to your organization later. Just in being creative, I find that sometimes I just have to sort of tune out the chaos and just go with it, and then organize afterwards. So I don't know if that really answers your question.
It absolutely, it does. I think that's wonderful. Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you, Gavin. No, that's already perfect sharing. Now, I'll I'll mention maybe something now. I mentioned the drawer already. So personally, I do have that kind of situation where I'll have like, you know, I know where things are, but it's in that spot that looks disorganized, but at least I know it's there. So why I bring up the words organized chaos is because there is something that happens for artists, and particularly for Kandinsky and Kazuo Nakamura. So I should mention here, we are looking at a painting. Now, can you two tell me, Gavin and Jeanette, is it on your left that there is a painting with a gray circle up above? Gray circle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's the left. So
Yes.
yeah, Gray Circle is by Balsa Kandinsky. And just want to mention that Balsa actually painted this painting in 1923. So he was 57 years old. He didn't begin painting until it was in like 30, let's say 30 years old. And this, I'll speak to Gray Circle first, because for me, I actually see space junk. Weirdly, this is like, yeah, I see like how we're, you know, just being able to Zoom today, and you know, even though we're in isolation, we have this wonderful, you know, advantage of being able to connect via internet. But I know a lot of this wouldn't happen if it wasn't for the fact that we have, you know, satellites up in space. And meanwhile, if we think about when this was painted, like there's no way Kandinsky was thinking about space junk, right? So it's, for me, it's, I'm going to ask you, Gavin and Jeanette, either one of you, do you sort of see what I mean by that? Or am I way out?
No, absolutely. When I look at it, I see machinery. So that's interesting that you said space junk, because I see like some mechanical thing happening. And like I said, it reminds me of machinery and some sort of mechanism that, but I don't know what it's doing exactly, but that's the image I get. There's a lot of control there.
Yeah, for me, it reminds me a little bit of some films that were being created around the same time, where people were starting to combine images in really interesting ways. So the AGO had that film, A Ballet Mécanique, a few months back. And it's the same thing, where it's a dynamic representation, where you've got these images layered upon images.
Thank you, Gavin. Yeah, thank you.
Prompts the reaction for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on depending on, you know, what you bring to it and what you know, reference. And so this is good. Now, a little bit about Balsa Kandinsky, which is so interesting, is you know, he's the forerunner. He's the guy that like started abstract. In the, you know, here he was born in Moscow, Russia, and it was you know, 1866. And again, you know, he didn't start painting until he was 30. But it all happened when, you know, he saw his painting. He was a landscape painter, and you know, just saw his painting with light. I think it was twilight, and there was light hitting the canvas in such a way that he liked it better than his painting. He liked what light was doing. Now, Kandinsky also had a really a wonderful sort of, you would call it gift, you know, he had synesthesia. Or that, you know, some people say like, did he have it, or did he just understand it really well? Or did he just have, you know, a passion in a way for that idea of synesthesia, which means that when, for him, you hear you see color. No, sorry, you see sound, right, Jeanette? See sound?
Okay, no, I wasn't sure because I've heard of synesthesia, but I wasn't exactly sure what it meant because I know some people hear sounds and see color and some people don't, and I don't know if it means different things for different people. So thank you.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Yeah, it means
Yeah.
different things for different people, whether it's they taste a color, they have a sense of taste for a color, or yeah, see sound. So for Kandinsky, there was that. I think it's what gave him that uniqueness to almost take that next step, that when he saw a light on a landscape painting of his, it was on its side, it wasn't even the right way, and he liked it better. He just liked what the light was doing to it in terms of pattern and shape. And he decided he was going to reproduce that, and he had made that connection also to sound. So is he organizing a kind of chaos here? Or is he just, embracing his gift and a sense that perhaps, to represent something isn't going to always fulfill an emotional need? Maybe for him, there was too much association. If it was a landscape and representative of, the blue rider on a horse, right? Which eventually der Blau Reiter, whether that was too much giving away a scene and telling the viewer too much, whereas abstract allowed it to be more open to your feelings. And I think we demonstrated that really nicely because, even just thinking about, two words, organized chaos, we were able to bring other thoughts and ideas to the painting that maybe resonated with us more closely.
I have to say, when I look at it, I don't actually find it chaos. I find it highly organized. Just because, to me, even though he's just not being representational, he's using shapes. Just the composition, like he's obviously thought about where he wants to place everything and the colors and the layers. Like, it doesn't look spontaneous to me. It looks very planned. So that's my impression.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree.
You're absolutely right. He planned. It took him a long time to finish paintings because he was carefully planning it. But I think his initial, aha moment was, something that happened quite, organically and naturally and spontaneously. Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So trying to organize that chaos. Maybe he was a lot like you. He probably liked organization in his life, considering how many things were coming at him all the time. Imagine having to sound and color happening at the same time.
Right.
So now we are in front of a painting by Kazuo Nakamura, and it is the artwork on the right-hand side, and with the bluish background, and do we call it chaos of black lines? I'm going to open it up for discussion. Again, based on the words organized chaos. Jeanette?
Well, I have to confess, I absolutely love Nakamura's work because I find that it not only has some organization, which I see some structure to it, but I also find it very it gets me on an emotional level. And I don't know whether it's his use of color. There's something very it draws me in. It feels very calming. It's like I said, I get more of an emotional reaction. Whereas with the Kandinsky, I feel it leaves me a little cold. And I'm a little familiar with Nakamura's work too. So if I were to paint, that's what I would paint.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to admit, I'm the same. I'm a fan, and this one strikes me as perhaps a little more chaotic than there was that monumental landscape that used to be on the second floor, which
Oh, I love that
we've
one.
taken down. And but both they have that meditative quality about them, that there is a very precise placement of elements on the painting, which really drew me in. And especially after I started reading about his life and how he fit into the Painters 11 community, if he did, but that made for a great story.
Yeah.
I actually don't know much about him as a person. I just know his work. So I know he's Japanese Canadian. That's about all I know.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he came from Vancouver. There's a real underpinning of mathematical structures in some of his work. There's one work that includes a lot of numbers, also similar sort of monochromatic background. And he was kind of an outlier in Painters 11 because you had all these big, boisterous personalities like William Ronald and Harold Town, and Nakamura kind of did his own thing off to the side.
Yeah.
But
I
he
actually
did it very
find the
well.
title interesting on this one, the title Inner Structure, because you were talking about controlled chaos. And you're right, he was practicing when, I guess, was it abstract expressionism or the Canadian equivalent? Like this is 1950s. That was really,
yeah, the new era in Toronto painting. I mean,
yeah. Whereas I would say this isn't, it's sort of expressionistic and abstract. It is both, but like he says, Inner Structure is the title of it. So I get that because I see the structure, and yet there's something about his inner self in there, the blue, the kind of calm, the thinking, the meditative.
I think, as Gavin said, right, the mathematician in him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, in terms of connecting, you know, our feeling maybe right now, I mean, internment camp, you know, he was just 15 years old in an internment camp. And those you know, that experience doesn't leave you, you know, this COVID experience isn't going to leave us, you know, ever. So his I guess I want to compare a little bit, you know, that gift of his to be able to combine, you know, mathematics in painting and be a part of this very energetic group, you know, and they were drinkers and they were, and, you know, he preferred his, you know, big apple every day, you know, he was a very unique person. And yeah, so his gift, I think, you know, to that group and to abstract painting in Toronto when, you know, we were, I mean, honestly, you know, it came a little later, right, to especially to Toronto. But this is great. I thank you.
I really like the variation of the background blue. It's very three-dimensional, and it, compared to the Kandinsky, although there's an element of layers upon layers, it feels flatter than the Nakamura.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're diving into a pool. This is what you're seeing.
That's right. Either that or you're above and looking down almost on a scene below you, like a map of some kind or a landscape below you, and you're in a plane looking down.
Yeah.
This is great. I suppose do we feel like we're ready to start drawing? Do we feel like a little bit more abstract in our thinking right now, maybe?
I'd be ready.
How about you, Gavin?
I could try and do something. I'm not a drawer by habit, but
you'd give it a go?
Give it a shot.
Yeah, excellent. All right, because we're hoping that's the next step, is that you know, people listening to us today will, you know, feel more comfortable picking up a, you know, piece of paper and a marking, you know, whether it's a pen or marker or pencil, and begin to make abstract artwork. Because I think it is for everyone, really, to give it a try. It's not easy. I mean,
No.
one of the things, right? Many people think, oh, this is so easy to do, but you know, there's a lot of skill and a lot of work that goes into, you know, creating abstract art, but it doesn't mean you can't give it a try.
Well, it sounds good.
Excellent. All right. So see you after the drawing activity.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.